Good day, good day, good day, everybody. Welcome to another day, January 4th, 2022. Just did our first webinar last night. Today we're going to look at the Oanda data, mainstream markets. Let's check out what is going on in the markets. Give me a second here while let's do this. All right, so here we go. All right, so before we get started, actually, let me do it this way. Okay, so before we get started, or better yet, let's just get started. All right, so we're looking at Oanda data. Seemed my good old browser crashed here. I use Motorwave, Mint Linux. So here's the market overall. Very mixed. We have Dow up 0.5%. Dow is down 1.3%. Russell's up 1.2%. Figure that one out. They usually go all in tandem. Oil is up 1.2%. Gold is up 0.8%. Really mixed. We already know about Forex, just all over the place. Bitcoin's barely up, while the other is up a little higher. And then the international FTSE's up 1.6%. Nikkei is up 1.7%. So what we're looking at right now is what is trading using the good old harmonic scans. This is typical what I use, and it works pretty good. So what I've got here is what's the best performers, over 100 and some assets. So I only focus on excellent. So here we can go on about the Australian CHF. I've shown this many times where the pattern's been pretty well the same, just either peaks, goes flat, declines, and then drops since the last few years. There is no recovery in currencies. A lot of this just due to the good old national debt throughout the West. You look at USD Sweden, it's been flat. Monthly view, there's a bit of a trend. I wouldn't even touch these. It's not worthwhile going into currencies overall. Here we show the US dollar getting stronger against the Mexican peso. And then the Mexican peso itself, again, USD Mexican peso has some trend up. But again, and that's since 2013. So why would you go from $12 to $22 over 8 years when you can do that, well, with you know what, with crypto? So here's gold. Gold has been a major underperformer as well. Before we get started, I want to make sure you get on our quantlabs.net/contact page, get on our list, and then you will start to receive our daily newsletter. Okay, quantlabs.net/contact for that. All right, so continuing along, we have gold in Australian dollar, very flat. It's the same pattern. It is going up, and I think what's driving it up is obviously the global sickness. There's a recovery showing the flat performance going flatline. You can see that on the volume here, and that's for Australia, Hong Kong dollar. It doesn't really matter which currency you're going to trade this in. I think gold is really not a good place to be. I wouldn't even tie up money with gold. If you want stability, fine. Then you could kind of do that. Wouldn't really do that, but people want to do it. Do it. Canadian gold, silver now, and Canadian dollar dropping and starting to go up a little bit there. And then you can see here, similar to gold, it just performs, then goes flat. This is where you would probably want to get into gold over those 4 months, where it goes from, let's say, 1964 to $35, and look what happens, it's drifted back down as well. Then that's silver and Canadian dollar. Now this is a surprise for me, is the Australian 200. Nice rally here from roughly 70 to 66 up to 7,600. So something good news is going on with Australia. The Australian dollar shows it a little bit. Again, typical Australian dollar peaks here, 2007, drops because of the financial crisis, and then it recovers, goes flat up until the 2013, and has been solid decline since. Again, that is because of the general national debt. Hurts the credibility of the currency. Euro against the New Zealand. Again, another trade not worth it. Now, when you get into the exotics like the rand, it's a different story. I've talked about this. A good example is the euro, South African rand. It does trend up if you can handle that volatility, but you can see that solid base trend line that doesn't go below the trend history since 2011. So yeah, currency can be good if you're willing to risk this as well. Hong Kong 33, let's look at the 1 month. This is not worth putting obviously into. If you look at the States and some other stock markets throughout the world, a good example is India 50. Kind of flat lately, but on a monthly view, it's looking pretty good. It's been flat lately, but from my point of view, that's not bad. Netherlands could be another one we could look at on a monthly view. Again, similar pattern. Now, let's get into the bonds with the 10-year for UK. It's been somewhat stable. Actually, it's kind of going up, but it's going down as well. National debt, national debt, national debt. That's what's killing it. UK 100. I would not be putting any money into this. This is not a very steep curve. There's better places to go. And here's one example, is the Russell 2000 for the States. This one's looking pretty good, but lately you can see it's been flat. Let's look at some other ones. Now, in terms of other currencies, this one, short term, may be okay. You see that this is the USD Thai baht. It has gone up and a little bit of flat there, but this is very sensitive to tourism dollars because of the global sickness. Now, where are we going to go in terms of the market overall? Generally, you can look at Treasuries, the U.S. Federal Reserve Treasuries. Looking at a month view, you can see it's been flat, started to decline. When it starts to decline, that's a good thing, supposedly. But you can see here what happens is when it starts to move up, like in 2008-9, that's because the U.S. looked upon as one of the last bastion for safe haven, and the U.S. government will never default. And look here, you can see that during the 2018-2020. This is the national debt kicking the can BS that they've gone through, but it's started to come down now because it's starting to get a little more stable. The 5-year on the monthly, similar pattern. You can see that massive drive up there last year during the big first of when the global sickness hit. And again, here's an oil trade, U.S. Canadian dollar. Surprisingly, well, I'm not going to say that. I wouldn't touch it in a million years. You get just, as I keep saying, better performance. This one's looking pretty interesting. As the Hong Kong dollar has had its little bit of a rally, start to decline a little bit. But the question is, will it continue to move up? Here you can see it over 2021, and then it started to drop back a little bit, so maybe not. Okay, so let's look at some agriculture. As I said before a few weeks ago, that if the world had a meltdown financially, agriculture is still going to be the place where most would want to go into. You can see here a bit of a rally over December, and then towards the end of December, drop back. But look at these big bar moves again. Corn on inflation. So again, on a monthly view, will inflation kick in? Well, here's the funny thing. You can see it throughout the during the global sickness, drops back and starting to show signs it's starting to increase again. So chances are that it may start to go back up. I mean, look at Bill Gates is hoarding up on farmland for a variety of reasons, because from what I understand, it's the soil he's after. He's got his little stuff going on in terms of chemical or whatever, eating bugs for the rest of us peons, and he's going to monopolize it. And that's where corn comes in, and you could probably see it in other agricultural product. Let's see what else we've got here. Okay, this is an interesting trade here. Is the pound against the zloty, Polish zloty, been stable, But when you look at the monthly view, it's been stable, slight trend. But how's the pound against the rand, South African rand? Stable again. But again, we've talked about this general trend up with that overall on a monthly basis since 2011. It says something about either the economy or currency traders are putting money into these, call it exotic currencies. As I said, the New Zealand, Hong Kong dollar, pretty well flat for a number of years. This is another interesting one to watch for inflation trades. Is the copper trade. Here you can see it did go up last year during the global sickness again, and it's flattened out, and so we may start to see more inflation kick in. I don't know why these professional analysts that you'll find on places like Bloomberg don't watch these kind of charts, because it's pretty clear to me that it's been positive and it's starting to kind of go into a dip, and it may start to move up again. And that's what I'd be watching are the corns, the wheat, and namely in base industrial metal, because these are used as leading input for manufacturing, namely in China, and countries like Australia, Indonesia gain from that. Australia USD, this is one of those rare currencies that's traded in US dollar that comes up in these charts. But again, it's just general decline since 2011. Its peak. This is an interesting trade as well. This is moving up because of a similar trading pattern between Australia and New Zealand. It's moving up on a short-term basis from 103 to 106. Not much, but for a currency trader, that's a good continual positive relationship if you want to trade a decent trade. But look at overall, the performance has just been pretty well crap. I mean, it's been flat since 2013. Okay, UK 100 we've already looked at. It's been very flat. US 30. Now, I've talked about other currencies, but look at this monthly view. This is pretty good. This is the top 30 companies. Fairly steep, but starting not to be as steep over the last few months. Brent crude, they're talking about this could start to move up again. It's currently at $80 for Brent crude. If you look at the monthly view, yeah, see it hits right here around $80 and it starts to drop back. What will drive this up, to me, is just going to be a huge boom in manufacturing if the demand continues after this current variant passes. Let's see what else we've got here. USD Norway, again, another oil trade here, monthly view, very flat. So if you want stability, these are the currencies you want to hold, are the Scandinavian, Norway, Denmark, Sweden. You can see it over the last few years, since 2015, because they have cleaner balance sheets. Now here's gold again, very flat, just not performing. I just don't know why people would want to tie up money in that. Gold in the British pound, flat. You know, it is sort of moving up, but with crypto on the scene, that changes how hedging takes place. Now, if inflation does kick in, as I've already explained, then sure, gold, silver is the place to go. But we're not seeing that yet. We need to see confirmation of that trend. Let's see here. What other coins or currencies can I talk about? Okay, China is another big one. China 50. It's hit its peak here back in December, gone flat again. Monthly view. This says it all. It's a nice trend, pretty volatile. But again, it's maintaining that trend line. It's gone flat. But again, I think India is a better place if that's how you want to trade it on a long-term basis. Because, but the U.S. lately, markets have been doing really good. Those are obviously the best places to go. Euro, just flat. I mean, look at this as an example. The Euro, Denmark, just flat. It's stable, but it's flat. No performance whatsoever. We're still in the very good. Just looking for anything else I can show you. Singapore, 30. Look at this general trend. It's just been crushed. They're talking about Singapore may come back. I don't know. Even if it does, it's been flat since 2011, so why bother? Let's see here. US 2000, the Russell, I think I showed this, been flat lately. Monthly view, been flat again. And then the other one to watch is the USD against the China yuan. You can see it's very flat all for the last couple of months. Monthly, it's just this huge drop down. I think it just says something about China, the currency down there. Okay, this is another decent one to hold. Okay, it's been very flat, USD Hungarian, but been very flat. But look at that nice, steady, more steady trend up. Also, USD INR. You can see the strength there of the US dollar. But the monthly, again, really, really decent and a good trend there. Actually, before the Turkish lira chaos, it was just better to be in that. Continuing along, USD Hong Kong, been very flat here. Monthly, just all over the place, no thank you. But I mean, if you don't want to get on that upswing, obviously that's a good one, but be aware on those drops. WTI, same as probably Brent crude, monthly, starting to move up. It's just right over here. If you break it down to either a weekly view, it's starting to drop back there, but the volume did pick up, slowed back one day in the same. You typically want to watch the volume there on those time frames. We've already looked at the Brent crude, corn we looked at. Just pretty killer. Okay, Turkish lira against the Japanese yen. It's actually Japan that seems to be saving Turkey. You can see here since the 19th of December, it's spiked and it's dropped back since the Japanese have stepped in to sort of help stabilize the problem. So that's definitely in the charts there. Now also with the Rand, it's not the same with the Rand and Japanese yen. So don't ever write off Japanese investors. They can make a huge difference there. Obviously this has been flat for platinum, just a go nowhere situation. That's pretty well it. Just reminding you once again to get on our newsletter, quantlabs.net/contact. Thanks for watching.